We have reached the third and final episode of What the Was World War I. Now, this is some heavy shit that we're talking about, so I figured I'd make it a little easier on you guys and just sit back and have a chill conversation on the couch. It's story time! When we left off in the last episode, the whole world was basically just a massive shit show. Now, the Ottoman Empire decides to support Germany in the war, and this leads to several new fronts across the Middle East to protect or capture, depending on which side you were on, valuable British resources, like the Suez Canal and Persia's oil reservoirs, today Iran. Modern technology that had never been seen before really changed the nature of war forever. But military tactics hadn't actually kept up with the speed of technology. So you had soldiers fighting traditional battles while they're being shelled by machine guns and artillery fire. So crossing the battlefield was literally a death sentence. Generals realized this early on, and so they ordered their soldiers to build trenches. Let me tell you a little bit about trench warfare. Soldiers on both sides basically had to dig these trenches, which are essentially just these holes in the ground that stretch for thousands and thousands of miles. In the trenches, they're protected from gunfire, but they also can't attack the enemy and advance. This created a stalemate that lasted for years. Soldiers had to live in these trenches along with dead bodies, disease, rats, bugs, toxic gas attacks. I mean, literally the worst things that you could possibly imagine. Another really fun thing that had a big impact on World War I was colonialism. So Britain and France were actually able to enlist millions of soldiers from their colonies around the world with a single promise. Fight for us, and we'll give you independence. Lovely. Now with this massive global army, France and Britain were able to attack Germany on all fronts and seize their colonies in Africa. Japan took notice of this and they didn't want to miss out on the fun, so they decided to join in and declare war on Germany and seize their colonies in the Pacific. And, just to keep things interesting, a ton of revolutions start to pop up around the world that take down long-lasting aristocracies and form the building blocks of a new world order. And you might be wondering by now, where the was the US during all of this? Well, you see, the US is pretty lucky because its very geography can keep it out of wars when it wants to be. See, at this point, the US was chillin' under President Wilson's popular non-intervention strategy. Germany kept provoking, and the US kept saying, "No fighting, let's make peace." The Germans even sunk a British passenger ship, the Lusitania, killing 128 Americans. And even then, America was still like, "You stop that right now." It was the infamous Zimmerman telegram incident that finally pushed America over the edge. What happened was that the US had intercepted a secret telegram that Germany sent to Mexico, inviting them to join Germany on an all-expenses-paid war against the US and promising them New Mexico, Texas, and Arizona when they won. It was at that point that Americans were finally like, "Oh no, you didn't," and Congress declared war 4 days later. So America's entry into World War I is where we're going to wrap up this series. Up next, we have, guess what? World War II. So to prepare for that and see what happened in between America's entry to World War I and what led to World War II, watch my video from a previous episode in the links below. And thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you soon.